Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Alex, and this is my presentation for health and wellness. I'm going to give you a little background knowledge about myself, and then we're going to get right to it. So, during COVID, I really understood myself and everything going on around me. I've always had a conspiracy type mindset with me. Everything I've always questioned since the beginning of time, like school and everything like that. But ever since COVID, I've seen that my quote unquote conspiracy mindset was all true, and everything that the government has been doing underneath our noses has came into fruition, and we can now see that. So with that being said, I found out that I had stomach ulcers during the COVID times, and then I healed myself through learning about health and wellness and what I put into my body. So from further ado, let's get right to it. So the beginning of the food and drug industry, this video is going to go over everything that's happened with the food and drug industry when it came down to the Cancer Society, and then what John D. Rockefeller has to do with that. So if you have a TikTok type of mindset when it comes down to videos and you're trying to only watch like minute videos, this is not for you. Just so you know, this presentation is going to take at least 10 minutes. But this video alone takes about around like 3 minutes, but let's get to it.
When it was discovered that drugs could be produced from petroleum, America's top oil mogul ordered his army of propagandists to invert reality accordingly. Medicines used for thousands of years were suddenly classified as alternative, while the new, petroleum-based, highly addictive, and patentable drugs were declared the gold standard. After buying a German pharmaceutical company that manufactured chemicals of war for Adolf Hitler, Rockefeller leveraged his political influence by pressing Congress to declare natural healing modalities unscientific quackery. Rockefeller then took control of the American Medical Association and began offering massive grants to top medical schools under the mandate that only his approved curriculum be taught. Any mention of the healing powers of herbs, plants, and diet was erased from most medical textbooks. Doctors and professors who objected to Rockefeller's plan were crucified by the media, removed from the AMA, and stripped of their license to teach and practice medicine. Those who dared to speak out were arrested and jailed. When evidence began to emerge that petroleum-based medicines were causing cancer, Mr. Rockefeller founded the American Cancer Society, through which he suppressed that information. John D. Rockefeller is duly credited as the founder of the pharmaceutical industry, and the reason that medical error is currently the third leading cause of death in America. This is not an indictment against doctors. More than anyone, they are under the stranglehold of the single largest lobbying power in Washington. Every year, the pharmaceutical industry spends at least twice the amount as big oil to influence laws, policies, and public perception. Thanks to Mr. Rockefeller, the architect of American monopolies, no industry has more power over our lives than Big Pharma.
So just to sum up the video, it was basically saying how John D. Rockefeller, which he owns a bunch of oil companies, so started implementing his oil into the foods that we eat, and then also implementing the oils into the medicines, quote unquote medicines that they give out at the hospitals and pharmaceutical companies and shit like that. And then once the petroleum oils had started giving people cancers and everything, he spun the block, and then he started making the Cancer Society. So all this money that we're putting towards cancer isn't even going towards cancer whatsoever. It's actually just going back to John D. Rockefeller's pockets, which he owns just about everything that we can fucking think of when it comes down to it, because all of this around us is owned just by a handful of people. I want everybody to understand that. John D. Rockefeller, the Rothschilds, and so on and so forth.
When it was discovered that drugs could be
And then right here is a good informational video that I posted on, I'm pretty sure on my Snapchat. And then this shows you the difference between food and chemicals. So let's get into this video. We're just going to do a little bit of some comparing and contrasting today. Here's some organic noodles. Look at that. Very, very basic ingredients. And that's even the soup packet. It has basic ingredients. And the noodles only have 2 ingredients. Look at this. These are the ramen noodles that y'all love. That's like 30 fucking ingredients right there. 30. And none of that shit's good. None of it. horrible, actually. Look at this shit. I used to eat this all my childhood. That's me. That's my childhood. And that shit was terrible for you. This right here, this is my future. And these, Koyo, Jungle Gems. Get with it. So as you can see in that video, the difference between something that is exactly the same ramen, but just by a different company, and with it just being by a different company, has significantly less ingredients. You all got to look at the ingredients, because that's what really matters, is these ingredients that they put into this food. As you can see in the ramen noodles that we usually eat, that you can get at the fucking store for 25 cents, 10 cents a fucking pack, they have like up to 50 ingredients when you can get ramen that only has a handful of ingredients. So it's literally, the proof is in the pudding, y'all. It's right in front of us, and we can sit here and read the ingredients, and we can put the best things into our bodies, but we choose to put this other shit into our bodies because they make it tasty and addicting. So let's go on to the other slide. We're just gonna... So right here, the food we eat today is all owned by a handful of companies. Let's sit here and zoom into this right here. These are all the fucking companies that we know and love right here. PepsiCo owns the Gatorade, the Ocean Sprays. And the Gatorade and the Ocean Sprays, they're supposed to be good for you. Blah, blah, blah. Fuck no. Stupid ass amounts of ingredients in those. And there shouldn't even be that much ingredients in some Gatorade or some cranberry juice or anything like that. There should not be. And then look at all the rest of them. As you can see, Kellogg's is another big brand. And Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is actually a really big brand that I didn't even know of until I started doing my research. So they do own a significant amount of stuff, and it's all shitty ass stuff with bad ingredients and everything like that. So those companies don't care about your families and feed y'all disease like Kellogg with their addicting cereals. That bullshit is full of chemicals and dyes, which dyes have been the leading cause of cancer and hyperactivity, ADHD. Then they put them on more chemicals with the pharmaceutical industry. Are we seeing the correlation? So as you can see in these ingredients, they're fucking terrible. They're so horrible, y'all. Like, why would you feed that to your kids? Like, I grew up on this too. And that's kind of why I do these videos and I do this kind of information, is because this is the shit that I grew up on. I grew up on eating disease all day, eating shit that has acid in it, just acid forming foods that would just leave me lethargic, leave me just going to the doctors and stuff like that. And that's why my stomach and my microbiome in my stomach was so messed up, is because I grew up on these foods. And that is why I wanted to present this to a bunch of people and that have kids as well, is because this things that we put in the kids' bodies is also what they're going to be addicted to into adulthood. So once I turned into an adult, I was still wanting these Fruit Loops and these Kellogg branded foods and all these fruity cereals and all this shit. And I had to break the programming and get up out of that, because I'd seen that it was affecting my health significantly. So let's just let my boy Russell Brand and real life health specialist break it down for you. And this is a very good informational video as well from Russell Brand. And if you don't know who Russell Brand is, you have been living underneath a rock. I hate to say it, because he is a very well-known actor, but also he's been blowing the lid off of a bunch of things lately when it came down to the COVID crisis and the pandemic and all that stuff. He's really been blowing the lid off of it, and he's been doing God's work lately. So let's listen to what he's got to say.
Worse than getting cancer is finding out that you were deliberately given cancer in order for pharmaceutical and big food interests to profit. Have you begun to understand that big food and big pharma cooperate in order to keep you perpetually sick? That there is demonstrable science that proves that sugar and processed food are causing diabetes, heart disease, and cancer at unnecessary, inconceivable rates, that this data is not being acted upon because it's too profitable to stop. I had a fantastic conversation with Callie Means, a whistleblower and activist who exposes corruption in big food and big pharma. You got to stay to the end of this conversation. It's unbelievable. The level of revelations, the depth, the breadth of corruption is very hard to comprehend. Stay with us to the end.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Let me to dive into specifics. Let me paint it this way. I'm also a new dad, and that's highly motivating to me. And let's just look at the pure economics of a sick child. Okay. So let's think about a 15-year-old lower income child. Okay. And the dirty secret, and just from purely financially speaking, that child in America is an absolute gold mine, because that child probably has prediabetes, which is from ultra processed food, probably has obesity, probably has high cholesterol, probably has high blood pressure. This is very common, right? 15% of kids right now have fatty liver disease, which used to be only a disease you saw in elderly alcoholics. So that kid, right, in the US is on Medicaid, and Medicaid pays out. The budget is greater than the Defense Department. This is the healthcare for lower income folks. And a sick kid with chronic conditions, what does that mean? The kid's not going to die, but for the rest of their life, they need a statin for their cholesterol. They need metformin and insulin for their diabetes. They need inevitably Adderall, which 15% of kids are, for their ADHD. They need Ambien because they're going to have sleep problems from all these issues. They're going to need opioids because they're going to be in chronic pain. They're going to inevitably have fertility issues. Male sperm count's down 50%, so they're going to need medication for that. They're inevitably going to have erectile dysfunction, which is just constrainment of the blood vessels, which is basically the same thing as heart disease. They're going to be on all these pills, right? And the medical system looks at, we're treating that person, right? That's what's bankrupting the United States right now, far greater than defense, far greater than any other line item, is these people that get sick early and they're treated. Okay. So the medical system looks at that and says, that kid is going to go to 6 different doctors. As I said, my sister, she didn't learn about the overall metabolic health of how ultra-processed food hurts our cells and shows up in all of those symptoms. She was a head and neck surgeon. She was going to devote her entire life to 1 square millimeter of the body, 1 square millimeter, which she was going to do a fellowship in. And that's all she was going to focus on. That's how you rise up in medicine. You segment the body. So this is very profitable. That child who's going to have a ton of comorbidities is very profitable. And there's a lot of incentives to make this complicated. There's a lot of incentives to send that kid to 6 different doctors, to a psychologist for that SSRI, to a neurologist for the ADHD medication, for the cardiologist for the heart disease. These are all the same thing. These are all the same thing. So are the doctors evil who are prescribing that statin? No, that's the system they're in. Although doctors are catching on to this. Doctors have the highest suicide rate and the highest burnout rate of any profession in the country. So I think they're getting in for the right reasons, but realizing patients aren't getting better.
So in here, in this video, just to sum it up a little bit, is basically just telling you how the industry works when it comes down to the pharmaceutical industry. They only want to give you these quote unquote medicines to take care of the symptoms. They don't want to take care of the actual problem, the root cause of the problem. And they're just sitting there taking care of your symptoms, you still have the root cause of the problem. So after you get done taking these medicines, after so long, you're going to start seeing your symptoms again. And it's just a never-ending cycle with these doctors and in the hospitals and everything like that. And like he said, has nothing to do about these doctors. These doctors are not bad people. They want to help people. They really do. But the industry doesn't want to help us because that's not where they make money at.
Worse than getting
That's just not where they make money at. So this isn't to scare you. It's to help you understand the body God gave you and what your body truly needs to thrive. Like, God gives you everything in this universe. You walk outside, there's fruits, there's vegetables, there's all these things that you can just go and pluck off the motherfucking tree and eat that. Like, you don't have to have all these potato chips and all these crazy ass things to put into your body. Like, when do we ever get taught that all that is okay to put into the body on a consecutive basis, on a constant basis? It's just not. Like, I understand if you want to pick out sometimes, you want some high shit, you want to get the munchies and you want to eat, that's cool, that's fine. But if your diet is 80% whole foods, good foods, if you want to pick out 10% of the time, 20% of the time, it's not going to be as big of a problem as everybody in America's diet is today, where they just eat fucking potato chips all the time and sit on the fucking couch like a bed bug type shit. So, just saying, let's move on. So your body does not need additives, carcinogens, preservatives, or dyes. Read the fucking ingredients. If you have ever wondered why these evil ass people are honest on the ingredients, here is why. And here is a video where it straight up explains why they're so honest on these ingredients. And with them being so honest on these ingredients, you go back and think, like, why would these sick ass motherfuckers be honest about this shit? They're honest about this shit for this reason and this reason solely. Let's hear them out.
Trying to do, but it actually goes a level deeper than that. Satanists, people who worship Satan, believe in karmic retribution. They believe that they can suffer the consequence of lying and tricking you So the very simple premise is this. If I sell poison apples and I write apples and you come and eat one, I poisoned you. But if I sell poison apples and I have a sign that says apples, they're poison, and you come and eat one, you committed suicide. I haven't murdered you. You've committed suicide.
That's what Satanists believe.
Satanists believe by telling you what they're doing, they don't have any karmic retribution. I'm not responsible for the constant. I'm not responsible for all the negative fallout from my actions if they understood what I was doing and allowed me to do it. This is why they show you.
And this all goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of this. If COVID hasn't woken you up to what the government is on, then you're going to be forever blind. The government is straight up satanic. There is no ifs, ands, buts about it anymore. They're straight up satanic pedophiles. Like everybody on Jeffrey Epstein's flight log list, them are the #1 actors, politicians, Prince Andrew, even somebody on the monarchy side over there on the Eastern civilization. Like, people need to understand is that these people who rule us are straight up fucked up people to their souls. But if they straight up give you poison and you continue to eat it, that is your fault. You can't put the blame on the government at that point. If you have somebody sitting here telling you, I am poisoning you, I am poisoning you, and I'm poisoning you, and you continue to eat it, that is just, you're just signing yourself up for failure, y'all. Just signing yourself up for failure.
Trying to do.
So even read the ingredients on your water, because they add chemicals or salt to our water to make us more thirsty to buy more water. Isn't it ironic that Dasani is the only water sold at big concerts / events, but it has the most chemicals out of all the waters? No wonder people are passing out left and right. So these waters that we buy that are mass produced, these waters have a bunch of chemicals in them. And here are the side effects to one of the chemicals: confusion, dizziness, lightheadedness, fast, slow, or irregular heartbeat, low blood pressure, muscle weakness, and skin infection after soaking. And then there are the ingredients right there. I'm not even about to make myself look stupid enough to try to even say them words, because they're just fucking stupid ass ingredients in general that you don't need to put in water. Like, drink spring water, y'all. Spring water, there is a lot of spring water brands, so be cautious of that. But a lot of spring water brands will not go wrong. They only have spring water in it, and not a bunch of additives either. So that's a good place to start out with if you wanted to start out on your water journey and what you want to drink on the water side. And not all meats is created equal as well. Read the ingredients, but also keep in mind that ground beef is very much tampered with to a point they put pink slime on it to make it more pleasing to the human eye. How fucking disgusting is that, y'all? That is just so disgusting. And I know on here, on these the 2 pictures that I placed on here, they don't have it added in here, but they put pig's blood on the slime and stuff like that. They put pig's blood. So for the people that are Muslim and stuff like that, they've been compromising religions even just to make a food more appealing to the human eye. And then let's zoom in on these 2. Right here, it even says processed meat was classified as group 1 carcinogenic to humans. That means straight up cancer. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Straight up cancer giving ass shit that we put into our bodies, y'all. And they tell us that we need this. We need it every day, and we need to love it every day too. And right there is the pink slime, y'all. Pink slime coming out of a fucking machine telling us that's nutritional. Nutritional where? Cut it out. Fruits and vegetables are also sprayed with pesticides and tampered with, so buying organic and washing your fruits and veggies will save you from those issues. So please wash your fruits. I know I'm bad at that as well, because you just want to eat some fucking fruit. So why are we going to take this whole process to eat some fruit? Like, it's organic, let's get to it. Like, no, that's not how it works in this world. Even with the organic stuff, it can also still be sprayed and stuff like that. So you want to make sure that you do wash it off. And washing it off, the best way is using some Himalayan salt or salt in general, and or some organic sea salt, and let your fruits and veggies soak in spring water with the salt added to the water. And then that would bring out any pesticides or anything like that was on the fruits. And right here you can see that organic is produced It can only be called organic if it's certified to have grown on soil that had no prohibited substances applied for 3 years prior to harvest. So that's a long time for soil, and that's good soil. It hasn't been tampered with or anything like that. So that's what makes it organic. So that's the difference between buying something that isn't organic and buying something that is organic, because the things that aren't organic, they're very much sprayed, the soil's messed with, and it's not nutrient for the body at all. No nutrients in that shit because it's been depleted by that shit, by the chemicals. So eating healthy and organic come with extra costs, but if you look at it from a business perspective, they had to spend more money to make better food, so it's fully worth the extra cost. So think about it, like what I was saying about the ramen noodles, y'all. We sit here and spend cents on food, and we think that it's gonna help us. Come on, let's really use our brains here. That's not gonna help us. That's paying cents just to eat worthless shit. It's not worth it anything. It's not worth the money that they even spent producing it. And you would think that the foods with less ingredients would be cheaper than the foods with 50 ingredients. You would think, but it's all about shelf life, y'all. It's about how long can they put that on the shelves, and ramen noodles never go bad. You can sit there and have that as a doomsday option because it ain't ever going to go bad. You won't ever have to worry about it at all. So that's just something to think about. Like, I know not everybody is on an entrepreneurial mindset. Not everybody has a business mindset, but please put yourself into a business mindset when you're sitting here feeding you and your family, because if you want to sit here and give your kids ramen noodles and stuff like that just to save $1 just to go spend it elsewhere, you got your priorities all messed up in the household. What should be number one is nutrition in the household, because that's what's going to have your kids ready to go to school and everything like that. And I know school within itself is just a bunch of bullshit, but at least taking them and having them in the best mindset going into this war zone, this spiritual war zone, which that's what these schools are nowadays, are just spiritual war zones. You want your kid to have the best mindset going into there, other than being lethargic and then not even being able to pay attention to the brainwashing or anything like that. So you want to have your kid with the best mindset going into life in general. And healthy food is more expensive, but it's cheaper than going into discussing soul-crushing debt due to disease or cancers. And that verbiage is my verbiage. I do not like debt whatsoever, unless it's leverageable debt, like if you're applying it into houses or anything like that. But debt, when it comes down to medical cost or anything like that, is beyond me, and it's really fucked up when it comes down to it. So the National Cancer Institute calculated the average cost of medical care and drugs tops $42,000 in the year following a cancer diagnosis. The study found that the total mean cost per patient increased from $109,544 to $140,732 for breast cancer patients, an increase of 29%. So we put all this money into the Cancer Society for them to just inflate the cost on us. But it's the same treatments, y'all. And we've been using the same chemotherapy for cancer patients since the beginning of time. But we get millions and millions and millions of dollars funded into the Cancer Society, but they don't have the cure yet. I'm calling bullshit, y'all. And that's not even a conspiracy. I'm just calling bullshit, because you have all this money put into something, a research fund, to go research for the cure, but you end up having the patient paying more out of pocket. That money should be going towards helping out the cancer patients, not going to absolutely nothing at this point, because we're not seeing any type of change whatsoever. And this is just the beginning of my presentations to show y'all healthier foods to put in your body and the history or changes of the food we eat. So if you like the presentation and want to learn more about your body and the foods we eat, tune into my Snapchat, where I post more content and details on my presentation, like dates and the platforms it will be broadcasted on. And I love y'all. We are in this bitch together. And I wanted to add that because we really are in this together, y'all. That is why I want to help people so much, is because at one point I was a lost soul, just wandering around, not knowing what I'm putting into my body, not knowing what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, not knowing nothing about this life. And I would have loved if somebody had just the drive just to go and tell people what's going on, because people think that they got all the answers, but that's just the ego talking for them. They don't have all the answers. None of us do. I don't have the answers, but I just research this stuff just to help people find the answers and stop answering questions with more questions. So my Snapchat name is paperchaser5133. My Facebook is Alex6, and this is where I post a bonus content and details on new events and presentations. So that is the end of my presentation, y'all. If you guys really enjoyed that, and I really hope you guys did, then just give me a follow. Go to the Snapchat or follow me on Facebook, or any way, just get a hold of me if you have any more questions or anything like that. And there's going to be more presentations to come. God bless y'all and Godspeed.